Andrew used the threat of divorce to take a Caribbean trip away from me. His mother gave me a smug look, acting like she was winning. I couldn't just let this slide. I would get my revenge on this mother-son duo. My name is Lilan, I'm 32, and I'm a regular working mom. Andrew and I have been married for 2 years. I met him through a mutual friend, and even though I wasn't into romance, I decided to give it a try. I didn't date much in college and only had a few relationships after I started working, but nothing serious. By the time I was 30, my parents were worried and asked around for potential matches. Andrew seemed like a good fit, calm, caring, and close to his parents, just like I was with mine. I thought we could make it work, so we got married. Everything went well at first, and we were very happy. About 6 months into our marriage, I got a call from Andrew. He sounded upset and told me that his father had collapsed and was taken to the hospital. I couldn't believe it. I had never expected to hear about my father-in-law's death so soon, especially since he had always been healthy. After that, Andrew became very focused on taking care of his mother, visiting her every day, and even taking time off work to go on trips with her. While he wasn't ignoring me, it felt like whenever our plans clashed, he'd always choose her. For example, when we were supposed to go see a movie, he canceled because his mom wanted to go shopping. I tried to be understanding, but inside, I was furious. Why did I have to be the one to sacrifice? Wasn't his mom the one being demanding? It felt like Andrew was a mama's boy, no matter how much he claimed to be considerate. Aside from the issue with his mom, our marriage was okay. I thought this was just what marriage was like. My personal escape was solving crossword puzzles with prizes. They were perfect for when Andrew would ditch me for his mom, Matilda. Sometimes, I'd even win gift cards or food items. One day, I won the biggest prize I'd ever gotten, tickets to the Caribbean. I was so excited, I double-checked the win several times. The tickets needed you to specify who would be traveling before you could contact the airline. The first person I thought of was Andrew, but I had doubts. He often traveled with Matilda, and if I suggested we go together, I worried she might want to join us. After thinking it over, I decided to give the tickets to my parents. When I got home, I stopped by my parents' house to tell them, "Ma'am, guess what? I won tickets to the Caribbean," I said excitedly. She replied, "That's amazing. You're going with Andrew, right?" I shook my head and said, "Not exactly. I want to give them to you and Dad." Mom was thrilled, but Dad seemed unsure. He said, "I've got work. It's a busy time of year for the company, so it's not the best time for me to take leave." Then he suggested, "Why not go with Olivia? It's your prize. After all, go enjoy it with her." Mom was excited about the idea, and I was too. The next day, I applied for time off work, and it was quickly approved. I contacted the airline and informed them that my parents would be using the tickets. I stopped by a bookstore and bought a guidebook for the Caribbean trip. It had been so long since Mom and I went on a trip together, and I was really excited, but when I got home, I was in for a surprise. I walked in and saw the lights on, so I thought Andrew was home, but instead of his shoes by the door, I saw a familiar pair of women's shoes. As I wondered about it, the living room door opened, and there was Matilda. "Lillian, what time do you think it is?" she said, sounding annoyed. "I didn't realize you were here," I replied, surprised. "It's not just about being here. You're home this late. What have you been doing?" Matilda continued. "Andrew will be back any minute now." I tried to apologize. "I'm sorry, I'll get dinner ready right away." But Matilda wasn't satisfied. "It's not just that. Making the bed is basic. Do you even take your role seriously?" She was criticizing me for not doing things her way. "I'm sorry things have gotten this way," I said, but she wasn't having it. "You should be more dedicated to your home, since you're still working." Matilda lived nearby and often dropped by unannounced, especially since Andrew had given her a key. She often made me feel like I wasn't doing enough because I worked full-time. It was hard to get along with her because she would always find something to criticize. As I was putting down my bags and starting to prepare dinner, Matilda suddenly shouted, "Wait, what's this? Are you planning to go to the Caribbean?" She had gone through my bag and found the guidebook. "Matilda, why are you going through my things?" I asked. "That's not the point. What's this about a Caribbean trip?" she demanded. "I won the trip in a sweepstakes," I explained. "I was planning to give it to Mom." "I've never heard about this. Why didn't you tell me?" she snapped. Before I could answer, Andrew came home. Matilda rushed to him, pointing at me. "Andrew, listen to this. Lillian's been so inconsiderate," she said. "What happened? What did she do?" Andrew asked. Matilda quickly told him she won a Caribbean trip and is planning to give it to Olivia without even asking me. "What Caribbean trip?" Andrew asked, looking confused. "This is news to me, too," he said, glaring at me. I tried to explain. "It's simple. I won the trip and thought of giving it to my parents, but since Dad can't go, I was going to take Olivia instead." "What's the big deal? You always travel with Matilda," Andrew said. "It's not the same. Mom and I only go on local trips. We haven't traveled abroad in years," I responded. "How can you decide this without asking me? It's my prize, so why should I not choose?" Andrew slammed the table, cutting me off. "You're getting too bold for a daughter-in-law. Me and Mommy are going. You stay home." "Mommy," I couldn't hide my disgust at how childish Andrew sounded. "Hold on. This trip's mine," I said. "If you're not happy, let's divorce." "Divorce?" I couldn't believe my ears. He was threatening to divorce me over this. Angrily, I responded, "I won this trip fair and square, and I've already decided to give it to my mom." Andrew ignored me. "Just pick up on the vibe. Mommy wants to go. So where does it end with you always prioritizing her? You never consider how I feel." "I don't care how you feel," he snapped. "This trip is for me and Mommy. Stay home and be good." I could feel my love for Andrew quickly fading. It was clear he cared more about Matilda than me. I couldn't keep dealing with this ridiculous situation with him and his mother. I calmly said, "Fine, do as you wish and enjoy your trip." "You should have listened from the start," Andrew said. "Suit yourself," he added, clearly irritated. The kind Andrew I used to know was gone, and all I saw now was Matilda smirking triumphantly. I decided that I would leave the house while they were on their trip. I would let them go together this time. The next day, I contacted the airline and changed the participants' names to Andrew and his mother. The operator replied with concern, "I'm sorry, but we can't change the people listed for the trip once it's been confirmed." "Really?" I asked. "Yes. Also, the ticket requires the actual winner to go. So if it's your husband and mother-in-law, the ticket will be invalid." "So, if I don't go, the ticket has no value?" "That's correct. Please review the documents we sent you, which explain this condition." I checked the documents I had received, and it clearly stated that only the winner could use the ticket, and it couldn't be transferred. I explained this to the operator and decided not to go on the trip. I didn't tell Andrew or Matilda about this and made plans for them to go on their own, paying for the trip themselves. That night, when I got home from work, I casually mentioned the Caribbean trip to Andrew. "Andrew, about the Caribbean trip, yeah, you contacted the airline, right, saying that Mommy and I will go." "I did call. Here are the winning documents and the tickets. I just need the tickets." "I won't read the documents," Andrew said. "There are detailed instructions in those documents, especially for an international trip. It might be a good idea to read them." "I don't need to. Mommy and I know what we're doing. We're efficient, not like you." "Fine, whatever. I'll leave them here, just in case," I replied, knowing that Andrew wouldn't bother to read them. The next day, I packed my bags and went to my parents' house while Andrew got ready for the trip. Once I knew he had left, I got a call from him. As soon as I picked up, he started yelling, "Hey, what's going on? They said this ticket can be used." "That's right. If the winner doesn't go, the ticket is invalid." "What? Why didn't you tell me something so important earlier?" "I did tell you," I replied. "Remember, I said it might be a good idea to read the instructions." "You mean it was written in those documents you gave me?" Andrew asked, sounding frustrated. "Exactly. It's your fault for not reading them." "This is absurd. So, how are we supposed to get to the Caribbean now? Well, the operator mentioned that if the winner doesn't go, you'd have to pay the full price. Full price. Andrew sounded panicked, and I could hear Matilda's voice in the background, both of them clearly distressed. What did Lillian say? Mommy, Matilda asked. If Lillian doesn't have to pay for the trip, what? Matilda trailed off. Let me talk to her, Andrew said. I can't deal with this anymore. I silently hung up the phone. A few minutes later, Andrew called back. Hello, what now? I asked. I'm busy. It's not what you think, Andrew said quickly. I tried to buy the tickets, but my credit card isn't working. Ah, I don't know anything about your card. It's not mine, Andrew snapped. It's your card. Oh, so you're saying you used my card without asking me. Just fix it. This morning, when I checked my wallet, my card was missing. I had a feeling and quickly found it. I knew he stole it. Are you kidding me? I was planning to use that card for shopping abroad. Andrew yelled. You always mess things up. You jerk. You witch. He didn't feel guilty about taking the trip or stealing my card. He was always putting himself first, and I couldn't stand it anymore. I snapped back at him. A jerk? Who are you calling that? You mock people all the time. You should just go to hell. If you love your mommy so much, why don't you stay with her? He shouted. Who are you talking to like that? You think you can say that to me? Calling out for mommy is creepy. You're just a mama's boy, I yelled. There's no point in us being married. Andrew tried to calm me down, but I couldn't take it anymore. Fine, if you want to keep acting like this, let's get a divorce. Fine by me, I said. I've already left the house and I'm not coming back. Enjoy your time in the Caribbean with your mommy. I hope you both drown. In a fit of rage, I hung up and blocked both Andrew and his mom. After that, I went to a law firm my father recommended to start the divorce process. When I checked our savings account for asset division, I found that it had been emptied. There were multiple withdrawals that matched up with the time Andrew went on his trip with his mother. It was clear he had used our money for their trip, and he had also used my credit card without permission. I demanded compensation for everything he had done. Soon, Andrew was in debt and getting chased by creditors. His relationship with his mom became strained too, and they fought every time they saw each other. As for me, I decided to stay with my parents for a while. I wanted to make up for all the worry I had caused them. Living with them and taking care of them felt like the right thing to do. Honestly, I was done with marriage. What truly mattered to me now was having a loving family. This whole divorce process made me realize that